The story began with a hardcore gamer named Kenichi, who had just finished a game that had taken him 3 full years to complete. After clearing it, he leaned back in his chair and let out a long sigh, reflecting on how boring and disappointing the experience had actually been. Despite the time he had invested, the game had never truly challenged him. What Kenichi truly wanted, he thought, was a game that would push him to his absolute limit, something so brutally difficult that it would take at least 10 years to conquer. He longed for a real challenge, not something that could be cleared with enough patience. With that desire in mind, he immediately began searching for his next game. He scrolled through countless titles, reviews, and recommendations, yet nothing managed to capture his interest. Then, suddenly, his computer screen glitched and flickered. Strange text appeared, offering him a game that never ended and was set in a fantasy world filled with magic. Kenichi's eyes widened with excitement. He had never heard of a game that never ended before, and the very idea made his heart race. Without hesitation, he clicked on it. A difficulty selection screen appeared. The options ranged from easy mode to hard mode, which seemed standard and unimpressive to him. However, as he scrolled further down, he noticed an additional option at the very bottom: Hell mode. He had never seen such an option in any game before. His excitement skyrocketed as he realized this might finally be the challenge he had been searching for. Without a second thought, he selected Hell mode. Next, he chose the Summoner class and confidently pressed the Start button. The moment he did, something strange occurred. His screen flashed brightly, and before he could react, he was sucked straight into it. The next thing he knew, he had awakened in a completely different world as a newborn baby, crying as he was born into a poor serf family. Shortly after his birth, a man gently picked him up and gave him a name, Alan. Surprisingly, Alan did not feel upset about his situation. In his previous life, he had been a 35-year-old, broke gamer stuck in a dead-end job with no future. Compared to that, this new life felt like a fresh start. Being reincarnated, he reflected, had given him a second chance to live a better and more meaningful life. At only 1 year old, he could not speak yet. However, his mind functioned perfectly. He could organize his thoughts, understand the conversations around him, and observe everything carefully. He soon realized that the language spoken in this world was Japanese, which appeared to be the common tongue. Alan and his family lived in a frontier village where pioneers paid taxes to a ruling lord in exchange for the right to cultivate the land. The settlement was still new and undeveloped. It did not even have a proper name. His father, Roden, was a hardworking and caring man who did everything he could to support his family. Based on his appearance and behavior, Alan estimated that Roden was around 20 years old. His mother, Teresia, appeared to be in her late teens. Observing how close and affectionate his parents were, Alan assumed it was only a matter of time before he gained younger siblings. That night, after being put to bed, Alan lay quietly and began to think. He suddenly remembered that he was supposed to be a summoner in this world. Curious, he attempted to open a status window to check his stats. Instead of a simple interface appearing, a large book suddenly materialized and floated above him. Alan shrieked in shock at the unexpected sight. His cry immediately caught his parents' attention. Panicking, he quickly made the floating book disappear before they could see it. His parents rushed in to check on him, but seeing nothing unusual, they assumed he had merely made noise in his sleep and quietly left the room. Once they were gone, Alan carefully summoned the book again. He soon discovered that it was a grimoire containing all the details of his stats and abilities. As he read through it, he confirmed that he truly was a summoner, just as he had chosen in the game. The grimoire explained that he could summon creatures. However, due to his young age, he was currently limited to insects and small beasts. Even so, he felt extremely excited. Eager to test his power, he attempted to summon an insect. Yet no matter how many times he tried, nothing happened. After several failed attempts, he forced himself to calm down and think logically. He remembered another skill listed in the grimoire create and decided to activate it first. This time, something happened. A crafting card for an insect appeared before him. From this, He deduced that he needed to create the creature's card before he could summon it. Just as he prepared to complete the summoning process, Teresia entered the room. He immediately lay down and pretended to be asleep. Even after she left, he found himself suddenly exhausted. Realizing that forcing himself to stay awake was pointless, he decided to rest and try again in the morning, the following day. When his parents were not watching, he summoned his grimoire once more and successfully completed the summoning. Instantly, a giant grasshopper appeared and jumped straight onto his face. He panicked, but quickly tried to command it to obey him. Unfortunately, the grasshopper ignored him and simply hopped away. Confused, he checked the grimoire again and discovered that he needed to give his summoned creature a name. After a brief moment of thought, he decided to name the grasshopper Dina. Upon doing so, he noticed that summoning Dina had slightly increased his own stats. However, before he could celebrate, Teresia entered the room. Terrified of insects, she immediately squashed Dina without hesitation. Just like that, the grasshopper was gone. Months later, during winter, a chain of events led to Teresia going into labor. With the help of Jera and his wife Matilda, a baby boy was safely delivered and named Mesh. As laughter filled the home, Alan quietly reflected on his reincarnation. He realized he did not fully understand why he had been given this second chance. Yet he knew he no longer missed his old, empty life. In this new world, he felt free, full of possibility. Most importantly, he cherished his new family above all else. Silently, he made himself a promise, no matter what it took. He would one day free them from the harsh life of serfs. Time passed, and by the time Alan turned 5 years old, his father took him on a walk through a wide field of flowers. During their walk, Roden began explaining the appraisal ceremony. He told Alan that it was a special ritual every child in their village was required to undergo upon turning 5. If a child were discovered to possess a talent, it could allow both the child and their family to rise above their lives as serfs. However, Roden cautioned him that success would not come easily. Their village was densely populated, which meant there would be many competitors. Along the way, they encountered Karina and her father, Jera. The four of them decided to travel together to a nearby commoner village, where the ceremony would take place. Upon arriving, Alan was shocked. The people considered commoners were well-groomed and dressed in clothes far finer than his own. The difference in status was immediately apparent. Before long, the ceremony began. The priests slowly opened the massive doors of the main hall and first instructed the common people to show respect to Elmia, the god of creation. They then proclaimed that heroes of the kingdom did not arise solely from those of high rank, power, or noble birth. Even ordinary serfs could rise to greatness. Hearing this, Alan immediately knew it was true. He remembered reading in the game's epilogue that classes such as hero and sword lord had to begin from the lowest social ranks. At the time,